Stick around if you want to see how to make all-natural, chemical-free whipped body butter. Hi guys, I am so glad you joined All Things Amy today. I have shown you how to make body butter before. I'm all out of my body butter right now, but I have not yet shown you how to make my whipped body butter. It's a teeny bit different in the ingredients, but pretty similar, but then we're going to whip the butter and add maybe some rose or palm rosa or geranium, just whatever essential oil you like. It is so creamy and so yummy. All right, let's start. We are gonna start with shea butter, and I'm going to put approximately 2 cups of shea butter. And I'm going to do the double broiler method for this. I don't want to get it so hot that I ruin some of the properties in these oils. And I also don't want to get it too hot. I mean, it will get hot, but I want it to cool quicker so I can whip it up. And you don't want to whip it when it's too warm. Okay, we're gonna start with that much shea butter. And then I'm also gonna add a little bit of jojoba oil and a little bit of fractionated coconut oil, but I'm gonna add those after I heat it. No need to heat those because they're liquid. And then cocoa butter, it comes in different forms, and I've ordered it before where it's already kind of chipped into pieces. It's a little bit easier to get out, but this came in already kind of pressed together. So I just take a spoon or the back of a knife and just chip some of this away. And I only want about 2 tablespoons of this. It's because see how hard it sets up. I don't want to put too much in here because I don't want it to set up too hard since we are going to whip it. But I do want a little bit of the beautiful benefits from the cocoa butter, and I absolutely love how it smells. It smells like chocolate. It really does. Okay, so this is all I'm gonna add here. And then we're gonna add some coconut oil that is not fractionated. But I'm gonna wait and add that after this is melted. Okay, I've got some water boiling, and I've got this pan, and I'm gonna just set it down inside this warm water, and it is going to heat it up enough to melt this down, and so that I can work with it. And I'm just gonna barely get it to where it's warm enough that I can stir it together and it's melted. I pulled it out for a minute and just seeing how much longer we need. It's really, really close because that heat is still in there and it will continue to soften it. But by doing it very slowly like this and not bringing it all the way to a boil, we're not going to heat it up quite as much as if we do it in the microwave or as if we do it on the broiler, but all the way to where it's boiling. It's almost ready. I'm going to put it in there for just a couple more minutes. Okay, we're just letting it, a little more of that boiling water do its magic. This is where we're going to add 3/4 cup of coconut oil. Let's go ahead and stir this in. We'll see if it needs to go in the water any longer. Let's see how the sides are getting clear. Now there's enough heat in there that it is going to melt down the coconut oil. The cocoa butter is already pretty much melted down. There's a couple little tiny pieces, but as we stir this, it will melt all the way down. going to need about 1 more minute. There's a couple pieces at the bottom that have not melted down, and this is already cooled off. So I'm going to let it go for about 1 to 2 more minutes. It's looking pretty perfect. That only took about 1 more minute. So it's a total of 5 minutes that I did this in the double broiler. All right, let's just stir it up a little. There's a couple pieces floating, but it is working its way down. And the mixture itself isn't too terribly hot. It never came to a boil, and I don't want it to because I want to keep all those properties. Okay, it looks perfect. We're gonna add a couple more things to this now. We are going to add 1 tablespoon of jojoba oil and 1 tablespoon of fractionated coconut oil. If you don't have either of those oils, you can use olive oil. You can use rose hip oil. I love jojoba oil because of what it does for the skin. It's the closest to what we naturally make. If you only have one of those oils, you can use 2 tablespoons. Sometimes I do 2 tablespoons of jojoba oil. In fact, I'm actually going to do that on this recipe. I want to make it extra yummy because I do love the jojoba oil a ton. So here, all right, I decided to do 2 tablespoons of jojoba oil, and this is going to just help the texture so that it doesn't set up too firm for my whipped butter, whipped body butter. So 2 tablespoons will do the trick. It also adds such a beautiful texture to the oil, and it helps the oil to, the body oil or body butter to feel super smooth on your skin. Now there's one more trick that I do right here just at the end, and I'm going to add cornstarch, just 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. That just helps take the oily feeling out when you first put these oils on. Now all of these oils they all will absorb in and they don't stay out on the outside because the molecules are small enough for them to absorb in. But there's always that kind of oily feeling right as you put it on. So I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of cornstarch and then stir that in. And then when we whip this, that will stir in even better. And you can take and kind of, you know how cornstarch kind of forms tiny little balls. Just take your spoon and smash those. But as we whip it, it will do the same. All right. After we whip it is when we're going to add the essential oil. If you want to add it, you don't have to. But I am going to add, I think I'm going to do some rose, geranium, and palmarosa, just for it to be flowery smelling. I love that. Some people really do not, and you can go with spearmint, eucalyptus. You could go with orange or lemon, just whatever you love, whatever you love. Okay, about to whip it.
Hey, to speed up the whipping process, put it in the fridge at this point for about a half an hour.
All right, then when you start to whip it, start at a lower speed for the first 5 or 10 minutes. And as it gets whiter and whiter and thicker, you can speed it up a little bit. And it can take up to about 30 minutes to whip it. Just depends on the temperature, really. And so just keep watching it as it whips, and you'll see as we see how this develops, what it's supposed to look like when you add the essential oils and then when you scoop it into the jars. It's so much fun. Okay, it's ready. Now we're gonna add the essential oils, if you choose to add them. And you want a total of 20 drops of your choice of oils. Start the whip back up, and I'm going to add 15 drops of geranium oil as this is whipping and blending it together. And then 4 drops or so of Palmarosa, and then 1 or 2 drops of rose oil. Rose oil is really expensive and it's pretty strong, so you don't need a lot of it. A little goes a long way. And now we're ready to scoop this up into the jars. All right, this smells so amazing. Take these bracelets off. And you can take any kind of jars you want to scoop this up in, but the best way to describe it is like a very light frosting. It smells so amazing with the rose, the geranium, and the Palmarosa. It's strong and powerful, but not too overpowering, with about 20 drops. Then just fill this up, and then store it as you would any of your lotions. And I also have these smaller containers if you're giving away as gifts, but this will last quite a long time. You don't need a ton of the, let me just show you here. A little bit of this on. Make sure you can see this. It smells amazing, and then that oil starts to just soak in. There's no chemicals. It's all natural, and it is so wonderful. I love it so much. Thanks so much, everybody. Remember, all things done with love. This is after a few minutes. That body butter is soaked in, and it just feels soft and smooth. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, guys.